See, I've got too much yarn. I think we may have enough to talk about already. Hi, welcome or welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, hi, my name is Mathilde, I'm a French knitter, and if you're not new here, thank you so much for coming back, I really appreciate it. If you've seen last week's video and you stayed until the end, then you may have heard that I'm gonna be moving house soon, so I thought now would be the perfect time before I'm like putting everything into boxes to go through my yarn stash and make sure that I'm happy with every yarn that I've got plans, projects for them, and I thought I would share that with you. So my plan for today is to talk you through some of those yarns that I've got, maybe not all of them because that's going to be a lot, and I also want to make a note of them on Ravelry if I haven't yet, because I think I have some but not all, and also on my Notion database that I use daily for my knitting project. So if it's not too messy, I'll also show you that, but we'll see. I just really want to, glance at everything that I've got and make sure that there's not anything that I want to get rid of prior to moving, because I think now is the perfect time. Let's just get straight into it, shall we? Okay, so I brought all of my yarn except, I guess, my projects, active projects or hibernating projects, so the yarn is in use. I do have yarn that I might show you afterwards that is from a project that I have to frog, but I haven't frogged it yet, but I think we may have enough to talk about already. So there's a bit of leftover yarn as well from projects where I've just, I guess, bought too much yarn and I've got leftover. For example, this is Gynt by Sandnes Garn in the colorway Poppy 4008, and I've got 3 full balls and scraps somewhere, and I don't know what I'm going to use this for. One of my cousin asked for a beanie and I thought I might use this, but she wanted like orange, and this is, leaning towards orange but definitely more red, so I would like to use my stash yarn rather than buy yarn, so I might still end up using it for a reaped beanie. I'm thinking the weekend hat, because I've been wanting to knit that hat for ages, because I've knit the Oslo hat and that one is painful to knit, so I'm hoping the weekend hat is a little bit more nice. Or I think actually the Hipster hat by Petite Knit is even quicker to knit, so I might do that. But also Gynt is a little bit rustic. I did let her feel it to see if she would like it. She said she didn't mind, but it's a beanie, it's on the head, it can be scratchy, I think, on the forehead, so maybe not the best project anyway. So basically I don't know what I'm going to do with that. I bought this lovely 100% merino wool called Numéro 1 by Maison Septembre, who is a French hand dyer, and this is in the colorway Avignon. And I basically got enough for what my thought was either a summer top, but I think I've got a bit more than enough for a camisole, but not enough for a tee, so that's an awkward amount because I've got 800 meters and I usually only need one full hand-dyed skein for a summer top like a camisole, so I should have only really bought one. Or I think my initial thought was to buy a corresponding mohair and hold it together to make a sleepover, and I think that's what I might do because I'm really loving my Friday sleepover by Petite Knit, which I'm wearing at the moment. I think it's feels really nice and it really helps elevate an outfit, and so I think in this colorway it's going to be gorgeous. I just need to find a good mohair to match. That's kind of the annoying thing about buying hand-dyed yarn when you want to pair it with a mohair, is first of all finding a colorway that matches in that other base, but also it does make the project even more expensive, which is a bit annoying. So it's been a few days and I've been editing this video, and I've been really wanting to actually set plans for some of these yarns. Now for this beautiful red yarn, I'm hesitating between two patterns, and I would like for you guys to help me decide in the comments down below. The first one I'm thinking of, and I think that's the one I'm leaning more towards, is the IVT by Petite Knit. I'm not sure exactly what the name of this construction is. I think it's a satin sleeve, but I love the ease that it's got. I love the kind of raw edges it has, and I really like their shoulder shaping. So I think that would be a great one to knit in that red color. Or there's another pattern by Petite Knit that I also love the look of, and that is the Cloud Tee. Again, I love that kind of rolled edge. This one has more positives, so maybe that's where I would have to pick between. The fit is definitely a little bit different, but I really do love the shaping it has. I mean, I think with that red yarn I really want the design to be quite simple and the yarn to pop, because it's got a little bit more variation in the color, so I think it would really shine in a simple stockinette project. But I like that with both of these patterns it's got a little bit of something interesting. So for the IVT, it's the shoulder shaping that I think is really beautiful, and for the cloud top I really love those rolled edges. So I would love if you guys help me decide on which pattern to make. I'm not sure when I'm gonna get the time to actually knit this pattern, because my summer plans is already pretty full, but you never know, something might push me in the direction of casting something new on. That wasn't planned, because that always happens. Okay, another hand-dyed yarn that I bought almost 2 years ago now. Or even, it is 2 years ago, it's more than 2 years ago now, and I still haven't used it. This is Olivia and Oliver Fibers Organic Merino in the colorway Susurrous, which was part of her Endless Autumn collection. Was it 2 years ago? No, I think it was a year ago. Yeah, a year ago, it's better. I think the reason why I haven't used this quite yet is because it's really a bit more pink than I thought it would be. It is really gorgeous, I just don't wear a lot of pinks. But I was thinking of doing a Monday sweater. I think I would modify it just a tiny bit to have 2x2 ribbing, because I haven't done a sweater with 2x2 ribbing yet, and that's something I would really like to do. And I think the Monday sweater is just so simple, and it is a raglan. I don't usually wear a lot of raglans, but I think it's just such a staple piece that I think it would be fine. Or I've been thinking about making the Septembre V-neck sweater by the Knit Pearl Girl. I might modify it also to have 2x2 ribbing, because I think it's just 1x1. But I think because it's a raglan but it has a V-neck, I think that would suit me more than the Monday sweater, which is a round neck. And my goal for this is to buy a mohair but in a white base, so that hopefully it helps tone down the pink a little bit, especially because this has a little bit of like grey, almost like bluish undertone, and even a little bit of white, so hopefully I can tone down the pink but bring out those other colors, and with the little bit of speckles that there is, which are really pretty, I'm thinking that that might be really gorgeous. So I think I might, whenever I want to prioritize that project, I might, yeah, buy a really quite fluffy mohair. I think I would like a fluffy mohair, you know, like cream base, cream white. I think that would be great. Moving on to the fiber company's Cumbria fingering. I bought these when I was going to my local yarn store in Paris called Les Tricoteurs Volants, and it was on sale. It was already pretty expensive. On sale it was, you know, a tiny bit cheaper, so I bought 4 of these. I really fell in love with the color, which is a bit unusual because I don't know if you can tell on camera, but this is a tiny bit more of a like grayish beige, and I'm not a fan of a lot of light grays, but I think this is leaning, you know, a tiny bit more towards beige, which I'm really liking. So I would like to buy this is fingering weight, I would like to buy a corresponding mohair that would be really that same grey beige, because I would like to try to keep that tone. So I'm thinking of buying the Bichibush, I don't remember what it's called, like the Gros Silk and Mohair, something like that. And I'll put the colorway and everything on the screen to hold with this. I've got 1200 meters. My vision for this, but I don't know if I have enough, but my vision for this would be a cabled sweater. I'm thinking like a Moby sweater by Petite Knit, or I've been seeing sneak peeks of the Knit Pearl Girls next design, or like maybe not the next one, but hopefully not in not too long of a time it will come out, which is a fully cabled sweater. I think she wanted to do a sleepover, but she's decided to do a sweater, which I'm very on board for. So hopefully I have enough for that, because I think that yarn would really pop and shine on a cable jumper. If I don't have enough, I think I'll just do a zipper sweater light for me. That way I can match with my partner, who has the zipper sweater light man, which I made for him earlier this year, and I think in this colorway it would be really perfect for me to wear. Okay, let's move on to this, which I've talked about not too long ago, because I did buy it not too long ago. But this is one of the yarns that I'm not sure of. This is Knitting for Olive Heavy Merino and Soft Silk Mohair. The Soft Silk Mohair is in the colorway Dark Mustard, and the Heavy Merino is in the colorway Dark Ochre. I bought this initially to make the Tulip Loop V-neck by Other Loops, which I'm currently knitting in the same yarn basis but in the colorway Dusty Banana, because I really fell in love with the color, and even though it's not a color that suits me, I think it really fits that pattern. And yeah, so I just bought that to make it. One of the other reasons why I decided to buy another yarn or another color is because I'm not in love with this color. I think it's just too golden. I bought this colorway because that was the colorway mentioned on the sample picture on the patterns page, but I think it might not be this, but ochre brown instead of the dark ochre, and maybe a lighter, darker mohair as well. And so I just don't know that I'm ever gonna be knitting these, so maybe I should really sell it. And next up, whenever I want to make another sweater with a dark golden brown colorway that's a little bit less golden than this, I can buy the ochre brown. But I just don't think I'm in love with this colorway, and I don't really want to spend, 2-3 months of my time knitting on a project I'm not that excited about. The only reason why maybe I would keep this if I wanted to gift knit a sweater or cardigan for someone and they like this color, but I think this color is really hard to like. So I'm not sure. I'm gonna ask my friends if they would like a sweater or something with this. If they do, they might not get it for a while, because I don't know that I would want to be gift knitting something that big quite soon, because I've got other gift knit projects in mind. But at least I'll have, an idea of what to use that yarn for, and if I don't, then I'm just gonna sell it. So this one might be going. Oh, the annoying thing about it is if I sell it, I'm only gonna be able to sell, it depends, I guess, on the buyer, but I might only be able to sell the skeins that are not touched, because I did think I was going to use this when I got it, and so it means that I've got 2 that are open because I made a swatch with it. So it would be like kind of annoying to sell everything but just keep these 2, because I don't know what I will use these for. Let's talk about another exciting yarn, and this one I think I'm going to use pretty soon. So this is yarn that I bought whilst I was in Japan. This is the Amirisu Stroll DK weight base. It is 100% superwash merino wool, which I've never actually used superwash merino in a project before, so I'm like a little bit unsure about how that's gonna be, just because I know it grows a lot and so because I'm not used to that, I'm just a tiny bit wary, but hopefully if I swatch everything will be fine. And my goal is to, this is a DK weight yarn, but I would like to, and the original intention was to just hold this single because it's DK weight, but I fell in love with the Cove sweater by the Knit Pearl Girl, which is I think a drop shoulder 2x2 ribbing, pretty simple sweater, but also has those quite, what do you call them, like dramatic sleeves in a way. They're very narrow at the bottom, and I love the shaping that it has. So I'm thinking I want to hold this with the mohair, and where did I put it? See, I've got too much yarn. And I think the mohair I want to hold with this is this very fluffy onling number 10 in the colorway, I think navy, or the colorway is a bit hidden, 0469. This one skein I've got left is from a project that was sponsored, so this is a gifted yarn for Test Knit. It was the Mia Hood by Toxknit by Joanne, and so I've got one full skein and I've got a little bit left over as well, and I think this is such a gorgeous mohair that was my first time using it, and I would really like to try it out in a garment, and I think these two paired together are just obviously perfect. And so whenever is the time for me to cast this on, I'll just buy more of this to hold with it, and I think it's just going to be the perfect navy sweater for fall. So be on the lookout for that, because hopefully that's going to come in the next few months. Next up, more yarn from Japan. This is the Swing Base by Amerisu, and this is a dark black, which is in the colorway Cave. It is also 100% superwash merino wool, but this one is fingering weight. I've got 2 skeins of this, which makes this almost 1,000 meters, and I think I would like to make a Amy slipover if I've got enough with this. I do think I'll have to buy a mohair for this, but I think that would be absolutely gorgeous. Or I could, I guess, make a summer tee. I think I would have enough for a summer tee. So that's another option, I think, because it's super wash. Hopefully it'll be at least easier to wear and to wash in the summer. But I'm envisioning this as the Amy sleepover. I think a black one would be perfect in my wardrobe. So yeah. Hopefully that's what's going to happen if I have enough, but I haven't checked actually. Maybe I should check now. I know the Amy slipover is a one size pattern though, which is a little bit annoying. Fan of that. It does say 1700 meters, which is a lot, so I don't think I'm going to have enough. I'll check the Ravelry project pages to see what amount of yardage people used. I mean, I guess I could do another like sleepover with this, and I think that would be great. I know I'm gonna keep that yarn because it's like souvenir yarn from Japan, so very dear to my heart, let's say. Let's talk about this, I guess. This is easier Aran tweed, and this is leftover from a project that I made early last year, which was the fennel seed jacket. It was test knit for Florence Miller, and I bought way too much yarn because this wasn't the recommended yarn, and at that time I didn't really know how to calculate the amount of yarn I would need for a project, so I just bought too much. I've got, I think here I've got 3 full skeins, but I think I've got like almost a full skein left over, just already wound up in one of these boxes. And so I think I would have enough for a skirt number 2 by My Favorite Things Knitwear, which is, I think, one of the only projects I could see myself knitting with this yarn. I didn't really love this yarn. It's definitely very rustic and a little bit scratchy. I like the look of the skirt number 2. I'm just not sure about it being in this color. And I would need to buy mohair to hold with it, because I do have some alpaca one in stash that maybe I could use with this, which is what I used for the fennel seed jacket to pair with this. But I think maybe a skirt would be better off with a, mohair to make it sturdy, but maybe this is enough to make it sturdy, because this is like very rough and sturdy. So that's like my idea for it. I think if I don't do it next fall, next winter, I'm probably never going to be knitting on it. So maybe I'll get rid of this at that time if I don't use it for that project. Let's maybe talk more about some hand-dyed yarn before we dive into like commercial yarns. I got this beautiful yarn from Une Lainière en Touraine. This is the Louise Dupin base and is in the colorway TL. This is 100% Merino from Arles, and I got this when I was with Paige from Two Bells in a Pod in Lille at like a yarn festival. That's also when I bought this red, and I got 2 of this fingering weight yarn, and my idea again was like a sleepover. I've got almost 1,000 meters, which I think is good enough for a sleepover. I really love this pale pistachio green colorway. It's just gonna mean that I need to hold a mohair with it, and the few mohairs I've had a look at don't really have a color like this. So I don't know if I'm gonna do a sleepover or I might do like another summer tea. Again, I've got too much for like a summer top, like a camisole, so I would just have to use one skein and then I would have another skein for something else. But like I don't think I would make 2 summer camisoles in the exact same colorway. So either a summer tee, or if I manage to find a matching mohair or like lace weight yarn. Actually, I didn't check any other type of lace weight yarn. I could check like alpaca 1 by Azir, Sandnes Garn's colorways as well. So I'll do that. But I think this is really gorgeous. I wish I had enough to hold it double, or I wish I had bought the DK weight base, because I know she has one, to make the type A, or the vest type A by Petite Knit. That's a design I'm really loving and I think I would love to make. I'm thinking more of a cream version though than this, and I don't have enough anyways for this, but if I did, that's what I would make, I think, because it's really gorgeous. So I don't know exactly what project I'm going to do with this. That's the issue when I'm going in a yarn festival, is I think I have a project in mind and then everything kind of goes out the window, and then I don't want to buy too much of one yarn because it's hand-dyed yarn, it's quite expensive. So I thought I was doing like the smart thing by only buying 2, but that means I've got too much for a summer camisole but not enough for like a sweater quantity or even a sleepover quantity, because I don't have matching mohair or lace weight strands, or I should have bought DK weight yarn. Anyways, so now I know what I should and shouldn't do when I go to a yarn festival, and I'm not upset with having bought these because I think this is really gorgeous, and this as well. I think these colors are stunning. And the yarns feel really lovely. They feel quite different actually, because this is definitely a tiny bit more rustic, I think. We'll see what I end up using these for. For this green beautiful yarn, I actually found the perfect pattern in my library. It's called the Ivy Top by Iris H on Ravelry, and it's a gorgeous tee with negative ease, with a mix of cable and lace, and I think it's just the perfect summer tee. And I haven't really made a lot of garments with negative ease, so I think it's something I really want to try, because I think it's something that suits my body shape, and I think this one is absolutely gorgeous. I love the detail that it has. I think in that green color it's really gonna suit the pattern, because for some reason this pattern reminds me of like nature or something, I don't know. This was a pattern that was gifted to me by the designer, because I'm now an affiliate member of hers. And so if you click on the link in the description down below, you can get 10% off of any pattern that you buy from her store. And it is an affiliate link, so I do get a small commission if you do that. So you also support me. The other hand-dyed skein, I think these are like last ones, at least for a sweater quantity. This I'm gonna use very soon. I'm very excited about it. This is Olivia and Olivia Fibers. This one is the Organic DK, and this is the Surrey Silk, both in the colorway Chestnut, which is one of the colorways from the Endless Autumn collection. I bought the Surrey Silk first, I think, and I wasn't sure obviously what I would do with just Surrey Silk, and I think I had bought 4 skeins. And so I ended up buying later the Organic DK tooled with it, and my plan for this is the Esther sweater by Petite Knit. I've made my swatch already. I think this is going to be gorgeous. The sari silk is so soft and so lovely, and definitely very fluffy. It makes the stitch pattern, the texture, just disappear a tiny bit. Not enough that it would annoy me, but just like a tiny bit that it would make this even more of a comfortable sweater to wear, I think. So I'm very excited about this. This is going to be like my main fall project for sure, just because, you know, the color, obviously. So that's going to be coming very soon, hopefully. Let's move on to what's in this box. Okay, we're going to have these beautiful yarns behind us, but let's move on to what's in the first box that I got. I really love those boxes. I think I'm going to buy 1 or 2 more to hold my yarn, because obviously I don't have enough of those. This is like full. Let me show you. This is like full to the brim, and since I'm going to be moving, I'm hoping to also be able to make like a, but we'll talk about that when I move. But I'm hoping to have like a wall of hand-dyed yarn so that I can put those beautiful skeins on display. But anyway, so I do have in that other wound up skein of the Iron Tweed by Olivia, and then I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 balls of Puno by Garn in the colorway 142, and this is 68% baby alpaca, 10% muslin free fine merino wool, and 22% PA for the net. And this is a very fluffy yarn. My goal for this is to knit the Selma slip suit by Petite Knit as like a gift knit. However, I don't really have any babies near me yet. They're either already too old or they're just not born yet, so I don't really have like a deadline for this, so that's why it's not been my focus, but I'm hoping to be casting this on this year. If I don't end up doing that, I think I would just buy more of the Puno to make the Caliste sweater by Moroccan Knit, which I think is this really beautiful, kind of reminds me of painting for some reason. I think it's stunning, and I think I have enough for this to be the main color, and I would just need to buy the contrast color. So I like that for some of those projects I've got like 2 ideas in mind, and I can just switch it up depending on what I'm feeling. The main goal is still the Selma slip suit, because I think this pattern is really sweet for a baby. But yeah, I've got another idea if that doesn't pan out for some reason. And I've never tried Gepard Garn's Puno, so I'm very excited to try this out. This feels very squishy and soft, so I think it would be really nice to work on. And then we have some yarn that was that I won in an Instagram giveaway. This is by Biche. This is my first time having yarn by Biche. And this is Le Petit Lamb's Wool, which is 100% lamb's wool. And I've got the colorway Écru and Bordeaux Gris, Burgundy Grey. I got these to make the Matilda mittens by Biche. It's also a pattern by them. It's a colorwork mittens. I tried making them when I first got the yarns, but my gauge was like way off. I really struggled to make this work, and so I think I'm gonna try again later in the fall, but I think I'm gonna have to hold a mohair with it or figure something out, because my mittens were like, I think I went down a few needle size, but wanting to make one of the largest size in the pattern because my gauge is very tight, but then it was still see-through, and obviously these are mittens, so I want this to be warm. So I think I might have to hold a mohair with it, but I would really love to try out this yarn because I think it's really gorgeous and I love the colors. And I think for a pair of mittens, or even like a sweater or something, I'm really loving the combination of like burgundy and white. So I would really like to try this out pretty soon. Then I've got a lot of Tin Peer Gynt by Sandnes Garn in the colorway 1002. I've got at least 5 here, and I've got more in one of my like ongoing project bags, because I originally bought these to make the No Frills cardigan by Petite Knit, which is a long raglan cardigan, and I couldn't get gauge. I wanted to hold this with Alpaca One by Easier in the colorway E0, and this is a lace weight yarn that I bought because it was a tiny bit cheaper than mohair, and I thought paired together would be perfect for that cardigan. So I do have quite a bit of the Alpaca One as well. I've got like about 4, and this is 400 meters per 50 grams, so it goes a long way. It really helps save cost for the no frills cardigan, but I just cannot get gauge. And if I go too many needle size up, because it's a long cardigan, that's going to go well like past my knees, I think, and I'm going to be sitting on it and everything. I don't want it to be too loose of a fabric, and so I ended up deciding to use most of this tin Gynt for my porcelain sweater, which we're not going to talk about today. But I think my goal is to try using the Gynt by Sandnes Garn held with the Alpaca One to see if that way I can reach gauge. Because I'm a tight knitter, it makes sense for me to sometimes go like use a thicker yarn for a project, because I'm gonna have to go up at least, you know, 1 or 2 needle sizes. But I'm also thinking, is it a good idea to substitute the mohair with the Alpaca One? Because I think for a long cardigan you might want the durability of the mohair to make it work, or like to make it, you know, more durable. So let me know what you think about that, because I've been thinking about it lately and I'm just not sure if that's the right choice anyways. I would still really like to make the no frills cardigan. I'm just thinking maybe I'll just have to buy completely different yarn. This is leftover from a project, but this is Gynt by Sandnes Garn, but this is just how much I've got left. So my goal for this would be to make a swatch, and hopefully this would work. But if you guys are like, absolutely not, do not use the Alpaca One as a substitute for the mohair for a long cardigan that you're going to sit on, I would really appreciate your opinion on that. But I've got a lot of tin Gynt, which, as I said, I'm using most of it for the porcelain sweater, which is not done, so I don't know how much that's going to take of this. But I think I'm going to have leftover like at least 2 or 3 skeins. But for the Alpaca One, if I don't end up using it for the no frills cardigan, then I'm going to have a lot leftover. So maybe I could try holding it with the organic merino that I was talking about earlier, which is a bit more pink than I wanted. And I think maybe the Alpaca One could help bring it down. So hopefully I can, if the no frills cardigan doesn't work out, I can swatch these two together to see if that would work. Also, I feel like the Alpaca One is really a tiny bit thinner than a regular mohair. I don't know if that's true. That's just what I'm envisioning. So maybe that's also why I couldn't reach gauge for the no frills cardigan. I don't know. And finally, in this box, I've got some sock yarn by Easier. So this is 40% easy wash alpaca, 40% easy wash merino wool. I don't know what that means. And 20% recycled nylon. I really wanted to make the petal drop socks by Florence Miller in this yarn. I think that's still the goal. I just don't know when I'm going to cast it on. But this is a sock yarn that feels really soft, and I would really like to try out another sock yarn, because I think only used Avetta by Phil Colonna, which I really love, or a hand-dyed yarn. But I would like to try something else just to see. Then we also have this beautiful mohair by Easier in the colorway 44, which I got for the test knit that I made for Julian from Tox Knit. So this is sponsored yarn technically, but I didn't end up using it for the test knit because that wasn't the color that I had asked for. I wanted a darker, more navy blue to go with the Jensen that I got, which I think I've also got leftovers from. So this is the combination I ended up using. So this is Jensen in the colorway 44S, and the mohair is colorway 54. I think that's where the confusion was, because the Jensen is 44. They got me the 44 in the mohair, but you can see that it would really brighten up the garment a bit more than what I wanted. I really wanted a more electric blue, which is what I got with this darker mohair. But that means that I've got 6 skein of this, which I'm thinking about. I might need to buy one more and then hold it with another yarn that I do not have in my stash to make a, I think I would like to make a cabled jumper with this. So I'm thinking the sweater number 15 or sweater number 29. I'm really not sure which one out of these two I want to make. I love them both. I think I would really like the saddle shoulder sweater number 29 because I've never done a true saddle shoulder. I don't think I've ever done that. Not really. So I think I would like the, you know, different construction, but also I love the look of the sweater number 15. So I can't decide, but I think in this color it would be gorgeous. So I just really need to find a corresponding yarn for this. I think it's held with a fingering weight yarn. And then I've also got leftover from my Amara vest. So that's this yarn. So I've got 3 of the mohair and 2.5, I think, of the Jensen. And I'm not sure what I'm going to use this for. I could make another sleepover, I guess, but probably not for myself because, as I said, I don't think I would use the exact same yarn for a similar project. I think if I had enough for like a cardigan or something, it would be fine if it was the same colors, but because I would probably only have enough for a sleepover, I don't think it makes a lot of sense. So either for someone else, I think that could be a really nice gift knit, or I'll just find another type of project with what I've got left. And then before we dive into, I said I wasn't going to go through all of it, but I did. Okay, before we go into the last box, let's talk about this. This is my advent calendar that I got last year. This is the Fungus advent calendar by Ivy Fiber Co. And I'm in love with all of these, and my idea for this is, and I'm probably not going to show you all of those tiny mini skeins, but like how gorgeous. But my idea for this is to make a Stella quilt blanket, and I've still not started it. And then it came also with like a full skein at the end, which is gorgeous. All of this is in the base meadow fingering, and these are naturally dyed yarns, which is really beautiful. I think me moving into a new house is going to help me actually knit on a blanket, but we'll see. I do have to buy yarn to hold with this, so I think once I'm in the new house, I can hopefully like sit down and take an afternoon to decide which colors I want to put where in the blanket and which yarn I want to hold with all of those beautiful colors, because I think depending on which like squares I want to make, it'll depend on the color that I choose for the main yarn for the blanket. So because I haven't decided that, I just haven't bought more, and so I haven't been able to start it, but that is a goal of mine to start at least by the end of the year. Lastly, we have this box. Okay, that's the last bit, I promise. Let's talk about this yarn, I guess. This is Vilcanana Avetta in the colorway Red Squirrel. So this is a sock yarn, but I bought this with the intent of making the Teddy Pants by Petite Knit, which is a baby knit. It's still my goal. I think that would be really cute in this colorway. I've just not had time, unfortunately, to cast this on, so hopefully soon, but hasn't come to fruition yet. Then we have some Gepard Garn Teddy Deer, and I've got almost 2 full skeins, but I think I used a tiny bit of the white and less than half a skein, I think, of the black. So the white is in the colorway 101. I don't have the tag for the black, so I'll put it in the description box below. But my intent for this initially was to knit I don't remember the name of the pattern, but it's like a phone pouch to put your phone in and to like have a strap, and yeah, which is knit in this boucle yarn. I've not had time to cast this on. This is more like for a gift knit, maybe when I'll get around to it. Then let's talk about summer yarns. One of the summer yarns I've got in stash that I'm unfortunately not going to have time, I think, to use this summer is Cotton Merino by Knitting for Olive. Apologies for the fact that the labels are a bit rough. This is in the colorway Mole, which is a really beautiful brown. You know, I can't even remember what my initial goal for this was. I think I wanted to make the square neck camisole, but I think whilst I would love to make that pattern, I don't want to make this in a brown. I think this would be more suited for a lighter, like v-neck cami. Maybe I'll try making my own pattern just to see. But this is a gorgeous yarn. I love cotton merino. I haven't finished using it yet for a project, but I think it's a summer yarn that I'm gonna love. I've also got some cotton merino in the colorway Oatmeal. And for this, I would like to make the petal drop camisole. If I don't end up making that one, because I'm just unsure about the neckline, I might make the square neck camisole with it. Even though I'm envisioning the square neck camisole as like made in a darker, like navy blue or black, I think it would be also really pretty in this beige. So that might be what's gonna end up happening. Also because I think the petal drop camisole, whilst being absolutely stunning, and I love my swatch of this, it's a lace pattern, and so I'm unsure what I'm gonna be able to wear, like how I'm gonna be able to wear it, because I think it's gonna definitely be a little bit revealing. So maybe a ribbed cami makes more sense. But hopefully I can use this soon, because I would really like to have time to knit more summer camisoles actually. Okay, we're nearing the end, I promise. Let's go back to some hand-dyed yarn. I went to the La Bien-Aimée pop-up shop. That was, I think it was like in like November not last year, the year before, I think. And I kind of went out of my mind and fell in love with some yarns that I still haven't even used, which is a bit of a shame, but it's this really beautiful Alix base in the Heliodor colorway. This is not focusing. Thank you. And this is 70% Falkland merino and 30% cereal alpaca. This is really gorgeous soft yarn, and it is 650 meters per 100 grams. So I got 2 skeins. One is already wound up, and my initial idea was to make a cardigan. I think I wanted to make the cardi jumper by Petite Knit, and I bought merino by Knitting for Olive in the soft rose colorway to pair with this, because obviously I have enough. I've got like 1200 meters, even a bit more, and so I thought I wanted a pink, but I started swatching and I didn't love the look of it, so I'm gonna have to swatch again because I didn't even finish the swatch. But I think I might want a yarn that's a little bit more yellow, because you can see that this has a lot of yellow and like golden colors, whilst also being pink. But as I said, I'm not that into the pink, so I don't know why I bought this. I mean, I know why I bought this. I thought it would pair well together, and I think it would, because this has got some light pink as well. But I don't know, I'm just seeing something else. And also I've realized I'm not that much into like hand-dyed variegated garments. I think I like socks that are variegated or accessories, but I think not garments. But I've got so much of this and I think it's still pretty gorgeous. I think also the cardi jumper, whilst being absolutely lovely, and I think would make for a great garment that I would probably knit one day. I don't think this yarn is for it. I think I would rather knit it in a more like subdued color. I think for this variegated yarn, I would rather have something that's a little bit more flowy and a little bit more light and airy, but I'm not sure which one yet, so I'll have to keep my eye out for that. I could even make another Monday sweater or a simple pattern, but I think maybe with the yarn it would shine, so that might be what happened. I just need to find which merino to hold with it, which colors. I do have a full sweater quantity of the merino in soft rose, and again, as I said, don't think this is really my color, so I think either I'll use it for a gift knit, but I've asked around for a few of my friends if they like this color, and I don't think they really did. Or I think I could do like a baby set. I think this is a really pretty light pink that would be gorgeous for a baby, a boy or a girl, I don't really care. And I think I've got enough to make like a jumper, pants, and maybe even a beanie or like a bonnet, something for a baby. I think that would be really cute. So I think I'm gonna keep that, even though I don't think I'll use it for me. But you never know, I might end up loving pink and wanting to make pink projects for myself. I don't think so, but you never know. From the La Bien-Aimée pop-up shop, I also got some gorgeous Kumu yarn, which is in the colorway Lichen, I don't know how to say that. This is 74% baby suri, 26% mulberry silk, and I've got 3 full skeins. I've got a very clear idea of what I want to make with this. I think I would have enough. I would like to heavily modify a cardigan pattern to hopefully make a long sleeved round neck, I know, shocking for me, cardigan for like the summer or something. I think in this colorway it's gorgeous. I've been holding off on this yarn just because I wasn't quite sure what I wanted to do with it, but now that I've got that idea in mind, hopefully I can cast this on soon. I don't have enough time, guys. I don't have enough time. And I've definitely got too much yarn. I've got some leftover skeins from projects in this box as well, but that's not too important. And then I've got this hand-dyed yarn, sock yarn, which is from Susurrous, and I think this is the colorway Beyond the Storm or something like that. This is gonna become one day some socks, maybe for my partner, maybe just for me, but it's this really beautiful variation of blues. That's about it for my yarn stash. This is a lot of yarn, definitely. I think it's good for me to like bring everything out and take a hold of everything I've got. I'm pretty happy because I've got projects in mind for like 95% of them, maybe 90% of them, and there's not a lot that I don't want to be using. It's just I don't have the time to cast on everything, but otherwise everything would already be in use or finished and knitted up. Let me know if you have any ideas for some of these yarns that I've showed you. Let me know if there's anything that blew your mind that you're thinking about maybe getting if you get the chance. Obviously, I'm very privileged to have that many yarn and to be able to afford all of this. This is my hobby and it's one of my only hobbies, so it's pretty much the only thing I spend my money on, except for like basic living thing. But yeah, I'm feeling very grateful to have all of this, and I'm hoping to be able to start a few new projects in the coming month with these yarns and try not to buy too much to add to that. So I hope you enjoyed this video. It's definitely was probably a long one. Don't feel like bad if you don't have that much yarn, because this is a lot. I've got a lot to go through. Now the number you're seeing on this screen is the total amount of grams from yarns that I've shown you. I didn't talk about all of the yarns that I have in my stash because that would have been a really long video, but I'll put on the screen how many grams that is in total. I'm not counting my current whips or like yarns that are being used, or any scrap yarns, so smaller than 50 grams or 25 grams for mohair, but that is how many grams I've got in my stash, and that is a really big number. So I know that my goal going forward is definitely going to be to really use what I've got in my stash and only buy if it's to complete yarn that I already have in stash. So for some of those yarns that I've talked to you about, I told you I was going to buy this mohair or that mohair to pair with it. So that's the only thing that I'm going to do, and I'm going to stick to it now that I've seen that number, because I said at the beginning of the year that's what I was going to do and I didn't really do it. But now seeing that number, I don't really have a choice. And I think that's good. That really helps me comprehend how much I've got and, you know, the amount of time that I will need to be able to use all of it. So I'm gonna wrap this up here. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.